So today I'm going to be going over everything you need to know about the new Genesis Part 2 DLC that is dropping on June 2nd, which is Wednesday, so I guess 2 days from now. But yeah, I hope you guys do end up enjoying this video. So if you didn't know, Genesis Part 2 is on a futuristic spaceship. The spaceship is absolutely massive, and the playable area is based on these two humongous rings that circulate the spaceship. The spaceship has extremely futuristic technology that can kind of simulate, the real world and have like air and all the stuff to live. So that is definitely pretty cool, and it is all. But the thing is, it is controlled by Rockwell, which is the boss that comes from Aberration, and then later Genesis Part 1, where he controls the spaceship or the simulation. So the Genesis Part 2 is based right after you come out of the simulation, and the simulation is basically located on the ship. So right as you come out, you come onto the spaceship, and then you have to survive on here and defeat Rockwell. There's a big variety of biomes, but there's the peaceful areas, so I guess like the Eden Zone, they call it, and then you've got the inner of the spaceship, and then you got the places that are taken over by Rockwell. So the developers said in the live stream they did pretty recently that the safe areas are going to be like pretty peaceful and not that bad, but the Rockwell areas are going to be like horrific and awful places, so they're going to be very dangerous, but I guess have some cool rewards in them as well. So next we're going into the biomes. The first one is apparently the Eden biome, it is called. This is basically like the safest biome in there, and it looks very similar to just the grasslands and pine forests and stuff like that. You can see mountains in the background with kind of clouds rolling off the sides, and then cool like cliff structures. And there's going to be creatures like the Strider and Maywing. This next area is the, I guess, inside of the spaceship, where all the mechanical stuff is going on with like the exomechs walking around and all the futuristic tech stuff. This is basically, where the ship runs, the inside of it. It's kind of obvious. You can see the big area here. It's pretty big, and it splits all of the different biomes, and it's kind of the center of the area. Next is the Rockwell's garden. So it's very similar to Aberration, it looks like, which obviously Aberration is kind of Rockwell's area, so it's very similar to that, except for this one you can see lightning kind of striking down in the background. You can also see pools of element, pink liquid element flowing around, so that, this is definitely going to be very similar to Aberration, except for Aberration doesn't have lightning. Next is the Rockwell's innards. So this is basically Rockwell have grown all over the area. You can see in this clip with the eyeballs everywhere. So he'll have, flesh, eyeballs, tentacles, mouths, and teeth growing out all the walls. This next place is just the space. I'm pretty sure you can go out into the space. Some of the creatures live out in space, like Astrodelphus, as you can see some of the pictures here with the asteroids. So you'll be able to fly around in there. And then in this picture with the summoner, you can see there's like the Rockwell's thing that you're walking on, and then you can see the background. In this picture of the Void-wyrm, you can see the space behind it as well. So Void-wyrms might even be out in space as well. So now we're going into the creatures. The first creature is the Shadowmane. It's probably the most hyped up creature out of all of these, so there's a lot of pictures of it, but it's basically like this lion fish hybrid thing. So there's differences between the males and the females. So the females can go invisible, and that is kind of their main ability, and then the males have a like roar ability where it can boost up different creatures around it, which can be very useful. And it also has a sprinting dash ability where it can like teleport and dash to different things and then use that to kill them, which is also going to be pretty cool as well. So this next creature is the Void-wyrm, so basically like a tech wyvern. It is pretty cool. It is one of the flying creatures, and it looks to be pretty big from this picture. It has an element breath, as you can see here, that goes straight forward, kind of like that. And then in this picture, you can see there's a ball in the middle that shoots lightning, so people think there's going to be multiple different breath attacks, which should be very cool if there is. This next creature is the Strider, so it is pretty cool. It is basically a gigantic, like, walking AT-AT thing that is a, tech creature, obviously. Its main ability is to have different attachments, so it's got 12 different attachments, so we don't know all of them, but this one, as you can see, is the harvesting attachment. You can see on there, and then so there's some of the footage of it walking, so you can see what it looks like there. And this is the harvesting attachment. It kind of just shoots out a laser and then destroys whatever in front of it. We also have some other ones like the blaster one that can go on its leg and other stuff like that. This next creature is the Astrodelphus, or the space dolphin. So it's kind of similar to the space whale, but it's found in the space biome, which is going to be in Genesis Part 2, so right outside the spaceship. So you can see it's pretty cool, but it also has its main ability, which is the tech saddle. So you can see at the top right there is the tech saddle there. It basically has 2 wings on the side of it, which is probably going to, jet it forward, kind of like the Tropionathus, where it can shoot forward with this tech saddle. This next creature is the main shoulder pet of Genesis Part 2, and it is the Noglin. So you can see he's a pretty small creature, and you'll probably find it in the Rockwell's Garden and mainly Rockwell's Inners biome. Its main ability is to mind control you. As you can see, it opens its mouth like that. So you can see it's also a pretty quick creature. It can kind of like zip around and stuff like that, apparently. And then, and this is a video of it mind controlling you, so basically it pounces at you like that, where it kind of, goes up and then pounces. And then this is another picture of it as well, but that is the Noglin. So this one is a non-tameable creature, I'm pretty sure, but it's one of Rockwell's minions, and it's called the Summoner. So it basically floats around and then has its mouth opening thing right here. So in this clip you can see it's kind of floating around within the spaceship and out in space, which is where you're going to find it, is out in the space biome as well as the Astrodelphus. And then with this, it can kind of open up all of its mouth, and it's got eyeballs, what looks like inside of its mouth. It's supposed to be extremely dangerous, and its kind of main goal is to destroy you. And in this picture you can see there's like a huge horde of them flying in, and then you can see, except for, like, unlike the other teasers we've gotten, they all have 1 eyeball, so I don't know if it's just like, not supposed to happen or what, but I guess there might even be a different version that has 1 eyeball. So this next one is the Exomech, so it's pretty similar, it's going to be similar to the regular mech, except for it is definitely smaller, looks a bit thicker, but its main ability, I guess, is it can go into like some sort of scout mode where it can like see different creatures, and it might even be able to like highlight them and then mark them and stuff like that, kind of like the scout. And it's also going to have some defensive and attack functions as well, so this is definitely going to be a pretty cool and unique thing in the game. This creature is the Mayewing, so it is basically a gliding platypus, because you can see it has wings on the side, which I imagine will be able to allow it to glide. But its main ability is to attract in, children or dinosaur children, I guess, and then it can put them in the pouches that it has on its saddle, which will definitely be pretty cool. So it'll kind of help nurture the little young, which is coming in with the addition of the egg incubator, which I think they're trying to make the egg hatching thing easier with this creature and with that item as well. This next one is the biome specific variations. So these are the R variants. So of course in Genesis Part 1 there's the X variants, and then in Aberration there was the aberrant ones. And so there's just another set of those, and then each biome will have its own set of creatures, and then those creatures will have those R variations. So now we're going to be moving on to the items and stuff like that. The first one is the minigun, which is supposed to be a really good boss killer. You can put it up on a stand, or you can use it mobily, but if you use it mobily it won't be as accurate. Next is the tech bow, which is basically a better version of all the bows. It has an element arrow and an explosive arrow, and if you pull it all the way back it'll shoot like a gun and then just go straight forward. Next is the tech pistol, so it has 3 different versions of itself, all being more powerful than the pistol. There's the killing mode, the stun mode, and the heal mode, all pretty self-explanatory. Next is the hover sail, which is basically like a flying or floating boat that can glide around. As you can see, it has different stages, and you can pop it down whenever you want. It has 2 seats. Next is the raft, which the more paddles you use, the faster it will go, and then the more you can paddle with it. You can also pick it up and place it down on the water whenever you'd like. Next is the tech crop plot, which is a better version of the crop plot that I'll imagine that will just, help the crops do a lot better than they usually would in just a primitive one. Next is the item selector thing. So you basically put your hotbar in there, and then your loadout or whatever, and go up to it and click it, and it will give you that full set and loadout already sorted for you. Next is the egg incubator, so it basically incubates the eggs, tells you their gender and stats and everything before it's even hatched, and it will tell you its color regions, I think, as well. Next is the surveillance camera, so you can place these cameras all around, and then you could look through them through this portal thing right there. As you can see, you could place them like on the walls and whatever, and anywhere on the map basically, and they have a huge range. Next is the ammo box, so it basically fills up everything that takes ammo, so like turrets and all that crap, and then it also will fill up a minigun when you're using it in your hands as well. Next is the Federation tech suit, or the Exo armor. They're calling it, basically it's a tech suit that you immediately start out with when you start the map, so that's definitely going to be pretty cool. Next is the Jar of Pitch, so I believe it's just going to be an ammo for the catapult that is basically like a fire jar of oil, so you basically throw it out and then it will burst into flames and then, burn everything out. Next is the net gun, so you basically, I believe, attach it to a harpoon gun, and then you can use it as like a basically bigger bola, but not as good as the chain bola, but it will still be very good for mobile, you know, take down stuff like a trike and stuff like that. So if you've made it this far in the video, make sure to leave a like and also subscribe, because we're almost at 1,100 subscribers. Now I'm just going to list off all the creatures in Genesis Part 2. So the Aloe, the RG, Bronto, the Turtle, the Carno, the Compy, the Dillo, the Direwolf, the Dodo, and the Equus. Next is the Giga, the Glowbug, the Griffin, the Megatherium, and the Ovis. And then we have the Parasaur, Pelagornis, Piranha, Pteranodon, Quetzal, Raptor, Reaper, Seeker, Snow Owl, Spino, Stegosaurus, Thylacoleo, Trike, Trudon, Velonosaur, and Woolly Rhino. So this is just a list from the Wikipedia on all the creatures. Some of them might not be in there, but most of them are most likely to. They're just from pictures from what we've seen in trailers and teaser pictures. Those are all the creatures we've seen in there, so they're probably going to be on the map. So this is the Carniflora plant. So it's basically like a gigantic Venus flytrap. It has two like gigantic mouths on the side. You can see one on the left, one on the right. One is eating an Ovis hole. So this, you can also plant this in the tech crop plot and probably regular crop plots too, and then you can find it in the wild where I guess it will try to eat you. You'll probably find it in the Rockwell's garden or Rockwell's inners biome. That is definitely pretty cool. And then the other plant, it looks like just a Rockwell tentacle that you can plant in this thing. You'll probably be able to find this in the wild as well, because it is Rockwell's tentacle, of course. That doesn't really make any sense how you can grow a tentacle that is Rockwell's tentacle, but I guess we'll see how that works. I imagine it's going to be more of a defense mechanism than anything else. So next I'm going to be talking about Rockwell, or the final boss of this map. So basically, like I said in the beginning of this video, he was in Aberration originally, and then as you know, Rockwell, and then the Master Controller as in Genesis Part 1, where he controlled the simulation, and now, as you can see, he's taken over the entire ship. This is what he looks like from the, I guess, main key art image. As you can see, it definitely looks like a pretty cool boss. And yeah, that is going to be the final boss of Genesis Part 2. So this next thing is the mission system in Genesis Part 2. So of course in Genesis Part 1 we had a mission system, and a lot of people didn't like it because it would basically take up parts of the map, and that would make it to where you couldn't build. Also, the missions were kind of repetitive because it would be stuff like, you know, a hunt mission or something, or like a race or something like that. These missions are going to be a lot different. These new missions are going to be a lot more like cinematic and story driven, so each mission is supposed to have its own kind of like little story where you go off on some quest and then do something that is outside of the map. It's not going to be inside the map. You're basically going to, I guess, be going through the different parts of the ship that you can't normally access if you're not doing that mission, if that makes sense. And then each mission will maybe have some sort of cutscene or something like that. So this is definitely going to be pretty cool, and I am pretty excited for that mission system. It's going to definitely be a lot better than the original Genesis Part 1 missions. And just some more stuff about the map. Of course, in original Genesis Part 1, there was the teleporting thing where basically you'd have HLNA, and then there's 5 portions of the map, and the only way you could get to those portions of the map was by teleporting, by using the HLNA interface, which a lot of people didn't like. This map is not going to have it. It's going to be like all the other maps where it is completely open world, and then you have to go to each map. This is also confirmed to be the biggest map so far. I'm pretty sure even bigger than Ragnarok and Crystal Isles, which I'm definitely extremely excited about because I really like big maps. Also, the map, like I mentioned earlier, the Exo suit or the Federation tech suit that you're going to start out with, the map is designed with the tech suit in mind, so you'll be able to fly around the map and then do stuff like that, and then it's basically designed with the tech suit, so that way, I don't know, I guess it'll be a bit different layout than most maps are usually. So of course, I said in the beginning, this video is, or the Genesis Part 2 DLC is going to be released on June 2nd, which is like 2 days from now, and is going to be on a Wednesday of this week, so it's like super close, but yeah. So if you want to be able to get this, Genesis Part 2 is not a free DLC, it is, you know, paid. So there's 2 different ways of getting it. You can either buy the Genesis Part 2 pass, which is $30, and you will get Genesis Part 1 and 2. You might be able to buy it separately, just on its own. I don't know about that, though. I think you have to buy the Genesis Pass, and then also with the new Ultimate Edition that Ark has just came out with, basically, you know, it'll give you every single DLC in the game for like $50, which I think is a banger deal. So, but, you know, I guess if you don't play the game, then it might not be, but, yeah. And of course, Genesis Part 2 is the last story map DLC. I believe there's going to be one more custom map that comes out after it has been confirmed, but this is the last story map before Ark 2 comes out. Also, Rockwell is voiced by David Tennant, which is a pretty popular, voice actor. But yeah, that has been a lot of information about Genesis Part 2, and that is going to be it for this video. If you did enjoy, and you've made it this far, then please make sure to subscribe and leave a like. Also, join my Discord server if you haven't already. But yeah, thanks for watching, and bye.